All right, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and I just hope y'all is excited about this draft. Day 1, round 1 coming tonight. Of course, I will be live streaming that, but before we get there, we have some very interesting news that will affect the draft that's going down tonight. First of all, and the main thing I want to talk about is the fact that the Washington Commanders are reportedly going to be very aggressive about trading up into the first round for a left tackle. That is huge news for me. I've been seeing people like Jordan Reed and Daniel Jeremiah say that we should do it, but now we're hearing reports from inside NFL circles that that's what we actually plan to do. Super excited. Also, we got to talk about Darrell Green's surprise jersey retirement that the Commanders did. That was big time. That video was amazing, worth every second. Also, the Washington Commanders have declined Jamin Davis's 5th-year option, and of course, but we're still going to talk about that as well and how much money it would have cost us if we would have picked it up, like how the Cowboys picked up Micah Parsons and all of these other first-round rookies from that 2019 draft have had their 5th-year options picked up. And then also, it's already being reported that Adam Peters already knows which quarterback he's taking in this draft. I would hope so. And then we also have a couple of more topics to talk about after that as well. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you follow me on all of the social medias, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of them. We have content over there as well, daily content that I don't even necessarily post on my YouTube. And also, you see it on the shirt, man. I'm providing y'all everything you need draft-wise, everything Commanders-wise in general, but especially draft-wise. I have y'all updated. I'm going to be live streaming for every round. I'm going to do breakdowns and reactions to every pick, their strengths, their weaknesses, how they fit on the team, their floor, their ceiling, and even their comps. And then on top of that, I will also be doing film sessions for every single player that we draft. So that's at least 2 videos for every player that we draft these next few days, and even some undrafted free agents. I'll keep y'all updated on the ones that were signing, and any of the notable ones, I'll probably give those guys separate videos as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this video. Let's get it. Adam. All right, first of all, I want to talk about the fact that the Commanders surprised Darrell Green and retired his number 28 jersey number. He said, quote, "It means a ton," but I want to do a full dive into it, and this is also coming from John Combs' article on ESPN. He said, when Josh Harris purchased the Washington Commanders last summer, one of the first calls he made was to Darrell Green, so we should have seen this coming. A player he grew up cheering for during the organization's heyday. Remember, Josh Harris grew up a burgundy and gold fan, a Redskins fan through and through, from the area and everything, so this meant a lot to him as well. So it's no surprise that Harris made Darrell Green the first player whose jersey he wanted to retire, and it's ridiculous that Josh Harris, within less than a year of buying this team, retired Darrell Green's jersey, and Dan Snyder never did. Like, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And Darrell Green even said in the video, this is the first time in 20 plus years that I've even felt welcome to come into the building. That was before he even knew his jersey was being retired, because he was basically there to just do like a little draft preview for the Washington Commanders to get the fans hype and everything like that. And he even said during that part, before he even knew his jersey was getting retired, that this is the first time he's felt comfortable being felt welcome to come around the organization and the team and things like that. So that's just absolutely terrible on Dan Snyder's side and all of the coaches we've had here and everything. That's absolutely ridiculous that they treated a legend like that. Now, continuing on with the article, Darrell Green will become the 5th player in Washington franchise history to have his number retired. The Commanders announced Thursday, joining Sammy Baugh, Bobby Mitchell, Sonny Jurgensen, and Sean Taylor. Green wore number 28 and played 20 seasons in the NFL, all with Washington. Let me say that again. 20 years in the NFL, all with Washington. If you don't know by now, just know he was one of the fastest players in the NFL at his time, arguably the fastest player. I mean, you talk about like all of the different Commanders greats, or even just a lot of great burgundy and gold Redskins players that we have watched since like the 90s, early 2000s and things like that. And a lot of them, you know, maybe us burgundy and gold fans know about them and love them, but typically they're kind of only legends within our fan base. A lot of other fan bases aren't necessarily aware of a lot of the guys that we're really attached to. But Darrell Green, everybody loves Darrell Green. A lot of the best corners in the NFL right now say that Darrell Green was their idol growing up and a guy that they really watch tape on and things like that. So he is like big time, even outside of the burgundy and gold nation. He said, quote, "It means a lot to me. I never thought about this, never dreamed about it, never asked for it, whatever. But when it was spoken to me, it blew me away. It caught me. It touched something down on the inside of me that I didn't know was there. So now I'm very humbled by this, but this is huge. This is a big deal, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm that guy that played the whole career here, wasn't chasing the money and stuff. I heard that. Tell him again." And it just kind of, in many ways, it just validated, man, I made the right decision, unquote, from Darrell Green himself. Also, of course, Darrell Green, who was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2008, his first year of eligibility. We still have a lot of guys that we feel like the Redskins, on the Redskins side of things, should already be in the Hall of Fame or not. Darrell Green made it his first year eligibility, so we can talk about what type of player this is right here. Owns multiple NFL records, including most games played by a defender, 295, and most consecutive seasons with an interception with 19. Darrell Green, 5'9", always considered one of the NFL's fastest players during his career, was named an Associated Press All-Pro 3 times and a Pro Bowler 7 times, and he played on 2 Super Bowl championship teams for the Redskins. Yes, sir, man. And if you haven't watched the 5-minute video of this being presented directly from the Washington Commanders themselves on their Twitter, I'm assuming it's on their YouTube, but I don't know for sure. It's definitely on their website as well. Please go check it out, because Darrell Green thought, again, like I said earlier, that he was only there to talk about the draft, hype up the fans, like this is the burgundy and gold, man, this is what we do type of thing. And then while he's reading the teleprompter, they surprise him by having him announcing his own jersey retirement. He's just kind of going with the flow, reading it, and then at a certain point you can see it on his face like, wait a minute. And then he finally realizes what's going on, and then his whole family rushes in wearing 28 jerseys. And throughout the video, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, Josh Harris, and other owners of the Washington Commanders are all wearing 28 jerseys as well to congratulate him in person. And then even Magic Johnson called in through Zoom or something and congratulated him and said, you know, it's not often that a black man can congratulate another black man at a level this high and things like that. So they shared that bond. It was great, man. It's worth every bit of the 5 minutes to watch of that video. Beautiful moment. Easily one of my top 5 favorite Redskins growing up, easily. So I was super happy when I just even saw the notification that we retired his jersey, and then you click on the video and it's just even better. It's amazing, man. And he even had an entire episode on John Combs' podcast earlier today, so I highly suggest checking out both of those, man. I definitely do. Now moving on to some, I guess, less than great news, even though it's the right decision to do. It's technically good news for the Commanders in general, but sadly Jamin Davis's 5th-year option was not picked up. They declined that 5th-year option, and I feel like that was very obvious. I've already talked about how the Commanders will not pick up Jamin Davis's option in several videos before these past few months. Now it's official that they did not pick up his 5th-year option, and the deadline is technically May 2nd, but I guess they just wanted to go ahead and get the announcement out of the way early. I don't know. But again, this was very obvious, because what did the Commanders look like fully guaranteeing Jamin Davis $14.483 million against the cap in 2025? This 2024 season is and should be the season to prove to this team that he deserves to stick around any longer. I'm excited to see what he does in this new Micah Parsons-like role that Dan Quinn already announced that they're going to deploy Jamin Davis in at the NFL Combine. He's probably going to ball out, but we gotta see it before we can give you that type of money, man. So I felt like this was the right decision. I felt like it was an obvious decision. Also, moving on, it's official. The Washington Commanders have already made their decision on who they're gonna draft at number 2 overall, and this was announced yesterday evening and reported by several people. The first person I saw say it was Cherie Burris of NFL Network. She reported yesterday the Commanders have already made their decision on their quarterback, and honestly, this should be fairly obvious as well. Like, honestly, I feel feel a little crazy because everything we've talked about so far in this video should be obvious. Like, Darrell Green should have been had his number retired. Like, duh. And then it's obvious that nobody was going to pick up Jamin Davis's 5th-year option. And then as far as the quarterback situation, I would hope they already know who they want at this point, 2nd overall. We could talk about other draft picks maybe, but 2nd overall, I would hope they already know. And then also Kimberly Martin confirmed the same thing on SportsCenter later on last night as well. And also Jayden Daniels' betting odds of being the 2nd overall pick have skyrocketed recently. It is at its highest that it's ever been throughout this entire draft process and offseason. Now his odds at FanDuel moved from -600 to -1200. That is the biggest gap between him and Drake Maye yet. Now, of course, I am also somebody that believes that nobody outside of the organization knows what Adam Peters is actually thinking, but I'm also somebody that wonders, again, why are we even keeping this so secretive? Like, if he came out right now and said who he wanted at quarterback, who could stop us from getting that quarterback? Like, Caleb Williams to the Bears is already as automatic as it gets for a number 1 overall pick. And if we came out and just let the world know who we're taking right now, there's nothing anybody else could do, honestly. And so going back to my point about nobody knowing what Adam Peters is thinking, Daniel Jeremiah and John Comm have repeatedly said that nobody knows outside of the organization. But now you also have Peter Schrager saying the same thing, in that he's not even sure that the Commanders are necessarily taking Jayden Daniels tonight. And if anybody says that they know for sure, they are lying. And that's exactly the same sentiments that John Comm and Daniel Jeremiah have been having these past couple of weeks. Also, shouts out to Bijan Todd on Twitter, because he brings up a great point, man. We got to remember, when we take this quarterback at 2nd overall, you got to shout out Lance Zierlein, the kicker from the Jets, you know, most notably from his time with the Rams, for making that game-winning kick against us when we nearly beat the Jets for absolutely no strategic advantage at all. So happy that we lost that game, and shouts out to Lance Zierlein for securing that L for the Washington Commanders, because that's why we even have the 2nd overall pick. If he didn't make that kick, who knows? We at best have the 3rd overall pick. You never know. Maybe it's the 4th or the 5th, and we have absolutely no say in which quarterback we're taking, because the guy that we mostly want is probably already gone by then. So Lance Zierlein, hey man, 5-10 years from now, the Commanders are winning Super Bowls. We gotta remember Lance Zierlein of the Jets, man. We got to never forget, never forget. And before we go, also in very big news, Ryan Fowler just tweeted and reported, quote, "We're going to be aggressive," unquote, a source in Washington said regarding a potential move back into the 1st round. The target remains an offensive tackle, where a chance to select Oklahoma's offensive tackle Tyler Guyton would be a perfect world scenario. And perfect world scenario is a quote right now. So apparently that's the guy that they really want. And either way, yes, please. For me, trading up for Amarius Mims is my preference, but I'm happy to trade up for a tackle somewhere in the middle, maybe early 20s of the 1st round just in general, rather than waiting for the best tackle available at 36, because I truly believe best tackle available at 36 will not be anywhere near the best player available in general at 36. I feel like we'll ultimately just be reaching at that point just to secure any tackle that we can get. And maybe there's some solid ones there. Maybe like there's a Jordan Morgan available or something like that. But I much more prefer to trade up for a Tyler Guyton, or especially Georgia offensive tackle Amarius Mims, or somebody. You never know if Olu Fashanu slides a little bit and then we trade up to get him. I would be in heaven in either of those scenarios, in order of Amarius Mims, then Olu, and then Tyler Guyton. And of course, Olu is safer than Amarius Mims, but I'm really stuck on his ceiling, y'all. I don't think y'all understand. I've already given y'all the stats and the athletic breakdown of how there's literally never been an Amarius Mims in the NFL ever before, but y'all can go check that out in my mock draft that I did 2 days ago, where I break it all the way down and everything like that. We're moving on now. Scott Abraham also tweeted that I would not be surprised if the Washington Commanders drafted 2 left tackle / swing tackles in this draft. They didn't address the obvious need during free agency, and with a rookie quarterback coming in, you have to protect them at all costs. Right now, our projected tackles are Cornelius Lucas, I guess, starting at left tackle. I love him as a backup swing tackle, but going into week 1, assuming he's your starting tackle, is not the most comfortable thing. I mean, at times, he did look better than Charles Leno last year, but there's a reason Charles Leno was starting over him for so long anyway. And then you have Andrew Wiley at right tackle. And then I guess Trent Scott as your backup. Yeah, we need to go 2 tackles in this class, dog. We got to. And in my most recent predictive mock draft, we did just that. So make sure you go check that out as well if you haven't. That was earlier this morning. And yes, please walk away from this draft with 2 tackles by Saturday night. And also, before we leave, Commanders edge rusher KJ Henry looks like he's trying to do some recruiting for a very good player that recently requested a trade from the Bengals. He quote tweeted the Adam Schefter announcement of wide receiver T. Higgins requesting a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals and said, "Hey buddy," with 3 smiling emojis, because he also, remember, in his picture that he tweeted, he went to Clemson at the same time that T. Higgins was there, and he has a picture of him giving a handshake to T. Higgins, like, "That's my dog. Hey, man, we can link back up in Washington while you playing." And, hey, man, I'm fairly open to that idea. It just completely depends on the price. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for him, and with as excited as I am about some of these guys that we could potentially get 36th and 40th overall, I'm not even necessarily sure about giving up one of those picks. But if somehow we could put together multiple thirds or something, I don't know, maybe. But I just don't think it's very likely. But I thought it was really interesting that KJ Henry shot his shot to let it be known out there, hey, bring my dog T. Higgins he's my boy all the way back since the college days. Bring him to the Washington Commanders. We need a tall receiver. He can be just that. I think he would be a great fit for exactly what we need. We do not have a T. Higgins on this roster. I think he would be the perfect fit. Again, it just matters what the price is. I may be willing to give up one of those high seconds because that's probably what it's going to take. But at the same time, man, I'm really excited. I guess because I'm just in draft mode, I really want to use those high seconds on some players that I'm very interested in. But we'll see what happens. Just wanted to give y'all that update. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, and still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned because, again, I'm keeping y'all updated on everything Commanders, especially everything draft. I will be live streaming every draft pick that we have, at least rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make sure you stay tuned because I may even live stream longer than that to see what we do maybe in the 7th round. And I will also keep y'all updated on everything that we're doing undrafted free agent wise as well. And I'm also projecting us to sign all pro safety Justin Simmons at the draft. And if we do it, I'm going to have a full breakdown on how he fits with this defense and everything after that as well. And I'll update y'all on our cap space, all of that. So stay tuned for every possible scenario that could go down within these next few days. I have y'all completely covered, your one-stop shop for everything Commanders. I really appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.